guys doing today? I just got off of work. I wanted to play some Godsmack while I was cleaning my vinyl. But it's been copyrighted, it's blocked everywhere, worldwide. So, not listening to Godsmack on here. If you can guess what I have on now, cool. If not, I will. Yeah, we're just cleaning a little bit of vinyl. Nothing too major. I wanted to do a review for you guys too. My next review is going to be Alice Cooper, Welcome to My Nightmare. You have to fill this thing with distilled water. Up until a certain point. Whenever I first started cleaning my records, I was really scared at first because I didn't want the paper on the middle of the record. It indicates like what side you're listening to and whatnot. I didn't want that to get wet and ruined, but this thing does a pretty good job at keeping the water off of the middle of the discs. And this thing is just called a Record Friend. I got it on Amazon. I know I've stated this before, I'm starting a podcast. So I mean, I'm not just going to be posting YouTube shorts all the time on here. I'm actually going to be making a podcast with my buddy about vinyl records and having some cool people on you probably would never have heard of if it probably wasn't for us. You want to do 2 capfuls of the solution over the brushes. The solution just looks like it's distilled water as well, but I'm going to follow the instructions. The main reason I got this thing, this record cleaning kit right here, I saw a post on Facebook that these people had all these records out by the side of the road, and I went and got at least 40 of them. Nothing like that's gonna give me nothing that I'm gonna make any money from on them records. Not that I ever sell my collection. Everything in my collection been in my collection since I've had it, and all these new editions are just gonna stay right where they're at. Here, I mean, it's gonna be a segment on the podcast I feel like I want to do. I invited a buddy to be my partner, and I'm hoping that works out. He's a really chill guy, hell of a guitar player. I can't wait for you to meet him. But we're gonna do a segment called Records Under the Table. I have all these records underneath the table over there, and what we're gonna do is at the end of every show, we're gonna pick one out, and I'll get it cleaned up so the next show comes on, we can listen to the record under the table. Now, a lot of the stuff I have right now is it's weird. There's some polk in there, some really old Russian vinyl. I had the Phantom of the Opera. There's some Spanish stuff. Yeah, no, some pretty cool stuff. Things I probably would have never listened to otherwise, and that's why I got it. That's why I picked those things out, because I'm never gonna go out of my way to buy Phantom of the Opera. But if I can get it for free and I can get it clean, I'll listen to Phantom of the Opera all day. Today, I'm gonna be cleaning for sure 2 vinyl. Both of my Rush vinyls, I have Moving Pictures and my favorite Farewell to Kings. I wanted to play those both the other day, but they were very, very dirty. So we're cleaning those. we're gonna start with moving pictures. One of my favorite things about these is I got both of them mint condition. Fairly good shape. There's residue on the face of this one and on the back of it. Pretty flimsy too. They've been around for a while. The vinyl itself is not looking too good. I mean, it's not scratched up or anything. It's just dirty. If I could find where this thing opens at. So what I like to do is, facing me, I'll put the band's name readable from left to right. And then you just want to gently get this in between those brushes that we inserted in there earlier. It's going down. This is a hell of a side. My favorite Rush song is on here. Red Beretta. They're Barchetta. I can't say that car's name. Classic though. I love that song. What you want to do with this is we're going to turn it clockwise 3 times. Then we're going to turn it counterclockwise 3 times. So just do that. No, you know the thing I love about vinyl too is there's so much of it. I mean, I love all types of music. I got R&B, rap, rock, country, folk. But even outside of the music genres, there's other stuff too that's in vinyl that I would have never thought was in vinyl. I got my favorite comedian as of right now, Bill Hicks. I got one of his stand-ups. I have a couple George Carlin's. He's not really my favorite, but I mean, he puts on a good show. He's funny. I have some really old radio broadcastings too. I have one from 1930 something, maybe 40 something. War of the Worlds, what the Tom Cruise movie was based off on. So I mean, that's very cool. It's very interesting to listen to what those people heard whenever that was broadcasting on the radio. And that's all they had too. There wasn't any TV or nothing. They had the radio for entertainment. And they explicitly stated in the beginning of that that broadcasting that it was going, that it's just a show. It's for entertainment purposes only. But I mean, you gotta imagine you're listening to radio, so if you miss the beginning of the broadcast, and you're just tuning in, you're like, dude, what the fuck? There's aliens invading New Jersey. This is crazy. No, that's not even one of my favorites. I have instrumentals in there that I love. I'm really interested to see what other kind of vinyl are out there that I don't already have. Like, other than music-wise, other than comedy. Because I know I'm just scratching the surface. Not on this vinyl, just in general. Another thing that I'm interested in doing with my podcast coming out, we're probably going to change the name of it so it doesn't sound like an invitation to an AA meeting. Like, your buddy's like, dude, you gotta listen to Needles Down. That's the best podcast around. I guess that don't really sound too good. And I still think the name sounds cool. And I like the name. But I mean, one night I was sitting down here and I came up with like 4 better names just in one night. So I mean, we're gonna pick one that's better, that fits the show a little bit more. Maybe I'll keep that for, I probably will keep it. If anybody wants to use that name after I'm done with it, go ahead, dude. You know, people thinking that you're friends with RFK or something. You're in his weekly group chat. Needles Down, dude. Dude, work was good today. We get off early on Fridays. Love it. Now we're just gonna spin some vinyl. I got some really cool ones yesterday. That Godsmack one I was telling you about. I got the 5-year anniversary, which I'm stunned it's been 5 years since when Legends Rise came out. Got the 5-year anniversary of that. It's all white. I would show it to you and play it, but you won't be able to hear it. I also got the Black Keys Super Deluxe Box to El Camino, and that's my favorite album by those guys. There's not a bad song on that whole album. I started collecting in 2016. I started collecting. I think I gotta go around one time. One of the very first vinyl I got, first 10 at least, because my very first one I'm pretty sure was the Weezer's White Album with California Kids on it. But I got the Black Keys early on in my collecting days, and my favorite song at the time by them was Sister, and I believe that's a side C or D song. So I was very excited. I opened my vinyl up, and I have 2 side A and Bs. My favorite song isn't on there, and I was pissed, dude. I was livid. I did, however, find a 45 that had Sister on it. It had a live version and a regular their regular album version on it. So I looked out finding that thing. Now what we're going to do here after we get this thing out is we're just going to gently spin it around with the towels. I'm going to dry it, then I have a drying rack right there, and that's what's going to finish it. Yeah, so I was a little bit upset that I had 2 A and B sides and no C and D. My favorite song off that album now was Little Black Submarines. That song, it's amazing. I mean, that group is amazing. Just those 2 guys, they kill it. I don't even really know what genre they are. They're like a modern, heavier blues rock, but they do a phenomenal job. That's much better. We'll put you down. Now we're going to do my favorite Rush album. It wasn't always my favorite though. My favorite for a while was Castle of Steel. Or was it Caress of Steel? Crest of Steel? That sounds right. It was before Neil Peart was on there. Lakeside Park is on there. The Necromancer. Can't really think of any other songs off of that album. But after I heard Farewell to Kings, that became my instant favorite since. And just like my moving pictures, I got this one in the condition as well. And unlike my moving pictures, the jacket on this one is a lot more not so flimsy. There's no residue on it. The back has the disc stain. But what are you gonna do? I think that adds character. I love this album. I love the album cover. I love the songs on this album. Yeah, Farewell to Kings. Exonda, or is it Xanadu? I forget how they pronounce the X in that one. Closer to the Heart. Love that song. Cinderella Man, amazing. Yeah, not a bad song on here. A couple years ago, during I want to say on the come down of COVID. So, what would that be, 2022? No, that seems too recent. It might have been at the beginning of COVID in around 2020. Right after Neil Peart passed, Primus announced that they were going to be doing a tribute tour for Rush, and it's the Farewell to Kings album, and I saw that live at Jacobs Pavilion in Cleveland, and what an amazing show. I mean, they also played their Primus stuff, but they did an outstanding job covering Rush. And I never got to see Rush live, but the person I took with me, they were fortunate enough to see Rush live, and they said that is the closest you're ever gonna get to seeing Rush live. And I don't know, it was an amazing show. Primus always puts on a good show though. In 2022, I got to see Les Claypool and the Fearless Flying Frog Barrage down at Live in Columbus, and they were doing their Animals tour. So they were doing Animals by Pink Floyd, and that is my favorite Pink Floyd album. So I've been lucky enough to see Les Claypool cover two of my favorite albums, and he absolutely knocked that one out of the park. He had a xylophone player there, shredded. I didn't think you could shred on the xylophone, but oh my god, this guy had me speechless. And not only that, he was also playing with Sean Lennon. So it was a really cool treat to see him live too, because I didn't think I would see Lennon live in concert anytime soon. So now that I did, I mean, that's awesome. I got to see Zachary Starr too. I saw The Who, and oh man, that was forever ago. Had it been 2018? I saw The Who in Cuyahoga Falls. I always forget the venue. I think it's Blossom. So Zachary Starr was playing on the drums, and I guess he's the closest that you're gonna get to Keith Moon on the drums behind The Who. So I mean, he put on a really good show too. The whole band did. And Who's one of my favorite bands. I have a lot of favorite bands. They're top 10 for sure. My favorite album by them is Connect the Dots, with like Behind Blue Eyes, Red, White, and Blue. Or no, is it Red, White, and Gray? Red, Blue, and Gray? Either way, that song's amazing. Imagine a Man. That's a phenomenal album. Alright, I'm gonna have you guys watch this disc for me real quick. This wax. I'm gonna flip over the vinyl I have playing already. Oh, I stand corrected, I'm wrong. There's one more song. That should give me maybe enough time to spin this counterclockwise 3 times. I used to have a turntable with a retractable arm that did it by itself. I got it for $80, and I wanted to be fancy. Then I got out and got this Audio Technica turntable. I mean, it's an amazing turntable, don't get me wrong. But for all that money you spend on it, dude, the arm should be retractable. That's unnecessary that it's not. We're gonna go one more time here. I forget how many I did already. But I mean, it doesn't hurt to get cleaner, right? I like to I like to play instruments too. I don't like to play instruments nearly as much as I like to listen to music though. I have a much better eye, or not eye, I have a much better ear when it comes to listening to music than I do playing music. Although I do have fun playing my instruments. I have two Ibanez basses. I have an AFR. That's a special edition bass. They've only ever made them a couple different times. And it's just chunky. That thing is a bass machine. I have your typical Ibanez bass that you can get for like $100 wherever you find those Ibanez basses at, and that's a very solid bass too. Whenever I practice anything, like anything new, since my AFR is 5-string, I like to practice on something a little bit smaller, something a little bit easier to get around. I'll practice on my regular Ibanez, and it has a lot more pop to it. Like whenever I'm slapping or anything like that, that bass has a lot more pop to it than my more expensive bass. My more expensive bass is, I feel like it's meant for playing some heavy stuff. I'm also not that good at like slapping yet though. I have definitely improved. All you gotta do is just practice, that's all it is. Where are we at here? We're at 22 minutes. I wanted to review an album for you guys. I think I'll do that. I have a small review written out already. I'm gonna flip this vinyl here. I'll be right back with my album I'm reviewing for you. We'll do it right here while these are drying. They're gonna be there for a while. But let me go get it. So right up here. Alright, this is a artist I rarely listened to in the past. Only recently I started getting into him, and I'm still not totally into him. I do appreciate his music a lot more now that I've been listening to it more though. Today we're reviewing Alice Cooper's Welcome to My Nightmare. His debut solo album releasing in 1975. It is one-time platinum. There's even 2 made-for-TV movie specials for it. One released in the same year the album did. I forget when the other one came out. I didn't write it down. I just know I saw it. But if you're listening to this and you're like, this is an Alice Cooper's debut album. Alice Cooper's debut album came out in 1969 called I'm sorry, I'm blinking here. Pretty's for Me, Pretty's for Me, Pretty's for You. One of those two. Obviously, I didn't research this, but I want to give you some kind of content other than me just rambling on here. But you might be thinking to yourself that their debut album came out in 1969, and you wouldn't be wrong. 1969 was Alice Cooper's debut album. The only problem with that is, in that band, Alice Cooper, there's nobody named Alice Cooper. It wouldn't be until 1973 that the lead singer of Alice Cooper, their frontman, Vincent Fierro, I butchered that. I know I wrote his name down here on another piece of paper. Vincent Fieri? That sounds a little bit more right. Vincent Damian Fieri changed his legal name in 1973 to Alice Cooper. And what I've read, it was to avoid legal action. I'm not thinking it was to avoid legal action with the band. I'm pretty sure it was to have more say and rights in the music that they made. Because before 1973, whenever he changed his name, I mean, they already had some hit songs like School's Out, I'm 18. They've already had a couple gold albums by then too. So I can't imagine that he did it for any nefarious reason. And I'm sure that the band was on board with him doing it. Although that's all speculations. But before Alice Cooper, aka Vincent, released his solo debut album, Welcome to My Nightmare, they have already had 5 albums released. Pretty's For You, I'm pretty sure that's what the album is called, the first one. It's the polar opposite of this. It blew my mind whenever I listened to it for the first time, because it's very heavily inspired by Sid Barrett era of Pink Floyd, so it's very psychedelic. And I'm sure if there wasn't already a handful of bands at the time that were already popular and doing psychedelic music, they would have been very popular in that in that genre. But since there were already so many people doing it, I just don't think they got the recognition they deserved. Because it's not a bad album at all. The album's really good. At least in my opinion. I like psychedelic rock. Yeah, I like psychedelic rock. I thought they did a very good job. Some people don't like Sid Barrett and that era of Pink Floyd, so I mean, don't listen to it if you don't like that era. It wasn't until, the late 60s, whenever heavier music started coming out, like Sabbath. They really paved the way for numbers of bands, including Alice Cooper here. I don't know if he ever really had, the band Alice Cooper, they had some heavier tunes. I don't know if they ever really had an original idea. They had a couple band names before they became Alice Cooper. One of them was Spider. I know I wrote them out, but I lost those notes somewhere. I don't know if they've ever had an original idea. I think they've seen the success of other bands, and which there's nothing wrong with. As a band, you should be able to try out as many genres as you want and not be criticized for it. In fact, I encourage it. That inspires growth in your creation, growth in your fan base. There's a lot of bands that do it too. Cage the Elephant has some wonky sounding albums that are different from any other albums. My favorite album by them, I feel like they sound like the Butthole Surfers. Portugal the Man, they actually just kind of changed genres not too long ago, because they were doing a little heavier stuff way back when. I didn't start listening to them until The Satanic Satanist. I'm not sure whenever that album came out, but I started listening to Portugal the Man around 2010, and that was my first album. And they had albums before that. My favorite song of theirs comes off of that album, which is People Say. And it was around that album, actually, that they started kind of getting into a modern psychedelic rock groove. And I love the modern psychedelic stuff. Like, I love Flatbush Zombies. Portugal the Man was really good. And recently, one of my buddies from work, Joe, he's been getting me into some really cool stuff like the Tropidelics. They're a local Ohio band, and hopefully they'll be on the podcast once I get enough following. But back to Alice Cooper here. This is a concept artist. Not a concept artist. One moment. This is a concept album. It takes you through the nightmare of a kid named Steven. And if you never listened to it, I mean the original studio album. The original studio album is really good. If you like live music though, I would suggest listening to the concert version of this from 1975. It's like a white album, it's just his face, it's really good. Alice Cooper got this produced by Bob Ezrin. He's the guy who helped make their #1 single a couple years prior, 18. As of January 1975, 5 months late, and already costing Alice Cooper over $200,000. This was made. It came out 5 months late, like I said. He started touring that spring. Also that spring, he released the first made-for-TV special. He was also on the Muppets. I'm not too sure when that happened, but it had to have been sometime right after this album came out, because he was promoting it. His tour for this album raked him in $5 million. I think they were expecting $6 million, but only costing $200,000 to make. I'm sure $5 million wasn't bad, and it helped cement Alice Cooper into a household name that he still is today. He has plenty of other good albums that I'm gonna get into that I already haven't listened to. But whenever I was going through his discography, I saw a whole bunch of albums that either made gold or got close to platinum, stuff like that. Usually I play you a snippet of this album here. I'm already going on nearly 40 minutes, I think, and that's about 20 minutes longer than any of my other videos. So I think I'm gonna leave it here with you, just like that. No, I'm joking. I'm gonna play this for you. I'm not gonna, if you've watched any of my other videos before, I'm not gonna play the whole song for you. I'm gonna play snippets of the songs that I think are most influential to me, at least. I probably won't even put all the songs in there. Definitely all side A. I like to do that at least. But if you haven't heard this album before, it's been out since 1975. Come on, listen to this album. That's good. I suggest you check it out. Don't depend on me to play the whole album for you. At least not yet. We will do that later at some point though, whenever I'm running my podcast. We're hoping to have that up and running hopefully by the start of this new year. If not though, it will be soon. Go check out my shorts. Don't forget to like and subscribe. The more of you we get, the better. Just because the whole point of my podcast is I want to have local bands on. I want to listen to their favorite albums with them, and I just want to get them the recognition that they deserve. So the more of you that listen, the more of you that are gonna realize all the potential artists, not only in Ohio, because I'm gonna be interviewing people from all over, but you're gonna find all these artists that you don't know are there, and they're very talented. They deserve their fair share of the spotlight, and it's not okay that these artists get shitty deals from record labels all the time. Even the famous ones do, and they don't even own the rights to their music. I really want to produce music in the future for some of these guys, at least ones that don't have an album yet. I want to produce a record for them. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry it's ending abruptly. I feel like I've been rambling on for a little too long now. at least by myself. My dogs are here to keep me company, so there's that. But I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're gonna listen to this. If you've never listened to it before, that's on you. You've heard of it now. Check it out. It's cool. Stay tuned and I'll play you some of it.